Hey yo, it's Guido coming at you with something a little different this time on Tactics Talk. I'm going to show you some Battletech. Battletech is a new game that's just come out. It was a Kickstarter project and it is based on the old tabletop game with the rule set pretty darn close to the old tabletop game. I played, must be 30 years ago now, been a long time since I played it, but now it's a computer game and you don't have to do all the futzing around with the rule books and the rules and the facing rules and the shooting rules and the stability rules and you name it, all the rules. Now, that's a lot of fun sometimes, especially if you're face to face with your friends and having a good time. All that kind of stuff is fine. But if you are looking for some solo kind of play or even PvP over the internet, then this is the Battletech game for you because it's pretty fantastic. So I've already loaded in. This is the campaign. I'm not going to show you a skirmish. A skirmish would be PvP, but for now we're going to deal with just the campaign. I have done 2 of the story missions. So there is a campaign story where there are what they call priority missions. I'll show you that in a moment. And then, of course, there's kind of the freelance run around, shoot everything that you want to. So I'm just going to go through this. You can see the screen. Finances over here. The last thing I did was extravagant. We'll talk about that later. My morale is creeping up. 50 is the max. I have some bonuses on my tech and medical capabilities. Talk about that later. Here's the Argo. This is it right here. This is the big ship. You actually start with this little one that's attached to the side here called the Leopard. But that's how you begin. Eventually you get the Argo if you do a couple of the story missions, which is what I have done. Uh-oh, little report going on there. So there's some ambiance in the background going on while you play. And what happens is this moves along in a day and a week kind of idea. If I hit this play, then things start to move forward day by day. You can see that there's some things in the top here. 14 days until I do a ship upgrade. So if I do this, you'll see that it goes from 14 to 13 to 12 to 11. So that's how you advance in time. And you've got to repair your mechs. You've got to heal your guys. You can see that Decker is hurt, which will make people who play this game laugh a little bit because that's kind of the meme. Decker is always hurt. My Decker happens to be hurt. He's one of the original characters that you get to help you out right there. So it moves forward. If you're refurbishing a mech, all these things take time, and that's how you advance forward in time, as well as traveling and that kind of thing. You see I've got 4 million credits, 4,310,000 credits. These are the 3 things that are going on the timeline. I'm waiting for Decker to get healed. He has 14 days being out. Financial report means that in 20 days I'm going to have to pay everybody and pay for update of my mechs, and that can get quite expensive depending on how many people you have hired and how many mechs you have as well. So the impetus for doing missions and getting credits and scrap and grabbing mechs and selling them and all that good stuff is that, hey, the banker is coming for you every 30 days and he wants his $2. Manage tasks, and I'm on Mandalus. That's the planet you can see back behind me. You can go to a hiring hall, which is where you grab other mechs. You can see they come with different capabilities. This guy's actually pretty good for a hire. You can see that he's 46,200 a month, and this guy's worse. He's at 33,000. So Whetstone here talks about him. It's got the voice you can hear if you like the voice. Commander. So they all have different voices. Now I don't know how many are reused. I imagine quite a few because there's a lot of different mech warriors you can hire. But I can go ahead and hire him if I want. I don't really need that person. They got a little discussion about who they are. He's Davian Nobility, Officer Training School, blah, blah, blah. So background kind of information. So we'll go back to the Argo here. You also have a store. I won't dig into this too much. That's where you go ahead and buy and sell things. Mechs being probably one of the big ticket items. There's an option when you do missions, which I'll show you in a moment when we go into the mission, where you can prioritize salvage or money. And I would say that for the most part, prioritizing salvage is worth more because of what you can sell. Mostly because once you get full mechs to sell, they're worth quite a bit. And you pick those mechs up in pieces usually, up to 3 different pieces. Once you have 3 pieces, then you have a whole mech and you can end up selling it. Or use it if that's what you so desire. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The command center, there are different characters you can interact with. If you click on them, they have some stuff to talk about. There's some background things and some other useful information you can get out of these guys. I won't dig into that too much. This right here is where you find what missions are available. This priority mission is the storyline mission. If the little planet is up there, that means you are traveling to that planet. So it's a travel mission. You have to go somewhere. These are just basic missions that you can do. And it talks a little bit about what they're worth, max pay, what the salvage is. That's the thing I was talking about earlier. What the reputation bonus is. The little skulls are, in theory, the difficulty. Although that changes a little bit. It does scale as you scale. So as you move forward in the game, they get a little bit more difficult. It'll be hard to find 1 skull or 1.5 skull missions when you're quite far into the game. Right now, I've just basically started. So I still have some of these easier missions that I can go ahead and do. This one's 728,000 with 2 of 10 salvage. I'll show you how that works in just a minute. And there's a little briefing on exactly what's going on with that mission. There are some ins and outs on that as far as finding mechs. I won't get into that right now, but there is some verbiage sometimes on the descriptions that let you know if maybe there's a decent mech involved on the enemy side that you can go ahead and try to salvage. But we won't get into that right now. When you go to the barracks, it's interesting that when you do that, it takes you to this kind of screen, and then you have to press another click. I don't particularly dig that very much. I don't like things where I have to click, and I don't, on this one in particular, there's nothing else in here, so that's just 2 irritating clicks to get someplace. I get the ambiance piece of it, but that's odd. So we go in here and we click, we got Behemoth. Everyone's got a nickname, Glitch. This guy's a Kickstarter guy, so if you donated enough on Kickstarter, you actually got yourself in the game as one of the mech warriors. This guy is Joshua Godfrey, and his call sign is God, which I thought was pretty ridiculous. I like his stats to start, though. He's got 1s and everything and a 6 in tactics. I'm not going to get too much into this. We'll break this down later on, but you have 4 main skill areas: gunnery, piloting, guts, and tactics. They give you different bonuses, obviously, as you get better in that. You see that there's the big giant square right here. This guy's actually specialized with sensor lock. You are able to get these big specializations in 2 areas. Right now he's only selected 1, so the next time he gets to one of these 3, he's going to have to decide which of these 3 he wants. I'll show you an example. When you go to Behemoth, I have selected gunnery and guts to have the extra bonuses on, whereas piloting and tactics simply just get better. These are basically skills, extra skills that you can get, but like I said, you can only have 2 of the 4. I have pretty much randomly picked them, and they're definitely good depending on how you play the game, and it may be very important to late game, but right now none of these have seemed to make a whole lot of difference if you can focus fire and take things down quickly. So whether it's actually required to finish the game, I don't know. Probably not. If you're a min-maxer, you're going to want to dig into this and find out exactly how to set up each one of your mech warriors and how you want them to kind of fight. And that will then also inform a little bit about what type of mech they're going to use, whether it's long range, short range. There's quite a bit in there if you want to min-max, but I'll be quite honest with you. Early on right now, as far as I'm concerned, it's about putting as many weapons downrange on one guy together as you can and moving on to the next. Still, I think there's a lot of customization available in here. Pretty interesting. Go to the mech bay. This is the engineer guy. Again, you can talk to him. He's got information. This is another situation where you're doing 2 clicks to get somewhere, although I do understand this guy is in here. What I'd rather seen is this happen and then maybe have this guy's portrait here and talk to him, but that's all right. That's just one of those game design things. You can see that I have up to 3 bays. I need to upgrade to get a 2nd and 3rd bay. I'll show you that in a moment. But right now I have 1 bay, which means I can have 6 mechs up and ready at any one time. There is a storage function. These are all the parts and mechs I have in storage. I actually have a Shadow Hawk, Shadow Hawk in storage, so I can pull him forward if I wanted to. And you can see right here it says parts 2 of 3, 1 of 3, 2 of 3. That means I don't quite have that mech done. But next time I find a cicada part, then I will have a full cicada, and I can either sell it or use it or whatever I want to do with it. Realize that because I only have 6 spots in the bays, then anything over those 6 has to be here in storage. You can see, holy cow, I got a lot of storage. The number here is the tons. The tons go up to 100 tons, and they are listed out by light mechs at 20 to 35, medium at 40 to 55, heavy at 60 to 65, and assault mechs at 80 to 100 tons. Just gets bigger as the tons go up. That should make sense to most everybody. I only have medium mechs early in the game. I haven't really run into a heavy one yet. Don't have any parts on that. Here's the components. This is all the different parts, and I'll show that again later on. I'm not going to get into how to build a mech, but it's things like weapons, ammo. What else do we have? Weapons and ammo, and actually that's all that's on there. There's other, oh, here we go. Equipment. So arm mods, cockpit mods, heat sinks, which dissipate heat. We'll talk about that later. Jump jets for jumping around. And there's some modifications to certain parts of the mech that give it bonuses. There's a leg mod, for example, and I have a cockpit mod, which gives +1 injury resistance. This is important because getting mech warriors injured is a big pain in the rear. So we go back to the bot bays. I'm just going to show this. We're not going to dig into this. This will be a whole nother video at some point. And I'm not completely familiar with all the ins and outs of this, but if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of this game, you can redesign your own mech. And you can see that it looks quite complicated. It's not really, but it will take some digging around for you to really understand what's going on. One of the things I will mention right off the bat is each mech design, they've all got names, but it's not a case of I can just take a 55-ton mech and I can put 55 tons worth of crap on it and I can design it in any way I want. It gets trickier because what you have to look for is hard points. And what I mean by that, if you look right along this line right here, this guy has 2 hard points on the right torso, that's where it says right torso, for specifically missile weapons. So I cannot put a laser weapon or a ballistic weapon like an autocannon on the right torso of this particular design of mech because it doesn't have a hard point for it. So that is actually kind of interesting, and it does limit some of the ways you can design the mech, but it also makes you think about what it is exactly you want on that mech and how that's going to work. You can plus and minus the armor. Armor adds weight. The more armor you have, the more hits you can take. That should be fairly obvious. But the way this game is designed is when you get hit, these different components or different areas, right arm, right torso, head, center torso, the 2 legs, and then subsequently the left and right torso and arm, those are the locations that you get hit, and they each have their own armor. And once that armor's gone, you start taking internal damage. When you take enough internal damage, the thing falls off, basically. And the bigger the mech, the more internal damage you can take. Plus, you can be critical hit on all these different things. Get your SRM knocked out. Short-range missile is what that means. So that was probably a little more than I really wanted to get into right there, but that's basically what's going on with the refit button, and that's one of the more interesting parts in it. And some of you are probably watching this because you've done World of Tanks, and if you're like me, you sort of like some of the fiddly stuff. As long as it's not too crazy, and it's not, then it's pretty interesting. Alright, that's enough of the mech bay. Let's go to the engineering. I said we'd mention this earlier. This is the Argo, and you have upgrades on the Argo. Remember, all this stuff costs money. Fixing it costs money. Fixing the Argo costs money. Upgrading your mechs costs money. You know, fixing the mechs after combat costs money, yada, yada. But these are all different bonuses that you can get. Let's see, for example, the drive system. Let's see if we just highlight over this. And that's the nice thing about this. If you put your cursor over just about anything in the game, you're going to get some information about it. So the drive is going to do some things here. And what's interesting about this part of it, it doesn't really mention exactly what it does for you. And some of these further upgrades require you to either do the one before or maybe even do something somewhere else. Like the power system. Once I upgraded the power system to the 2nd level right there, a couple of these others opened up. And I'm not exactly sure what the interaction between all of those things are, but I do know that the more upgrades you have, the better off you are. Your mechs get repaired better, the crew's happier, some other bonuses along the way. There are some random events in the game that come up, sort of like Civilization if you've played that. Random things that happen, and depending on how your ship is upgraded and set up and the choices you make whenever you're faced with that situation can then have a positive or negative effect on things such as morale and other things like that. Some of them seem to be temporary. I've read that some of them are permanent. I haven't run into too many of them that were a big deal, but they do add a little bit of spice to the game. Navigation, this is how you get around on the map. So this is the big map of the game right here. I am currently on, where am I? Hard to tell where I am. I'm on, where am I? There I am, Argo. All right, so the Argo. Da-da, that's where I am, it says Argo. That's why this is a little bit irritating to me. I can go to these other star systems, but they're not named, which is really a bummer, especially if I'm looking for one in particular. I've got to highlight the whole thing. I don't quite understand why that is, but this is the only place I can go right now. The big stars means I can go to them. These guys over here, and whatever this space is, looks like Arugian Directorate. It says travel restricted right there in the bottom of this. So that's Itram, travel restricted. I can't actually go there right now. So as far as the story progression goes, I'm not allowed to go there. So there are some limitations on that as far as it not being completely open sandbox. But I can go to all these stars, and oddly, I can actually go over to this guy's airspace over here. This happens to be, who are these dudes? The Taran Concordate. I can actually get over there, but I have to take the long way around, right? So I can't go through these guys' space. I think we're at war with them. I haven't paid really close attention to exactly what's going on this. Sometimes when you've got that much lore thrown at you, you just sort of play, and eventually it will come to you. But you can see one of the first missions was there. I think that was actually the second mission. That's where I got the Argo given to me. So there was a mission to go get the Argo, which was out here somewhere. Then I went here for an attack, and the person who's my patron gave me the Argo, and now I'm running around in a better ship. And my next party mission is there. This is one of those questions where you want to decide, all right, do I want to advance the storyline, or do I want to kind of look around, strengthen up my forces so that I can take on the next mission? There's a little bit of that. I don't know if you can just blast straight through the storyline and not touch any other missions. That would be an interesting attempt, but I'm more of a completionist, let's look around kind of person on this one, so I'm sort of hanging out here doing some of these missions, and eventually I'll get to this pretty soon. The priority missions do have a lot of loot and quite a bit more money, obviously. The attributes are important right here. It's got moons, recently colonized. All these things have a little bit to do with what's there, whether there's a store there, what level of equipment can be bought there, and those kind of things. I don't know what the details exactly are there, but they are important as far as that goes, and there's a quick summary on what's going on. Sometimes to navigate out of places, you have to use this little double arrow up here. Other times you can come over here because the menu still exists for you to take a look at it. For example, right there, I can talk to her. Sumri is the pilot for the dropship. A dropship takes you down to the planet. Then you go to the captain's quarters. That's where you live. Actually, this is kind of interesting. I won't get into it too much, but you can mess around with the color of all your mechs and customize them. Over here we have the faction reputations, how much people like you or don't like you. You can see that the Urano Restoration is starting to like me. Canopus and Capellan Confederation like me. The rest of them don't know who the heck I am. Mercenary Review Board is kind of like this overarching group of people who keep track of mercenaries. If you're into the lore of the game, you understand what it is. As far as right now, it doesn't really matter if you know anything about it. Financial Review is basically how much money I spend a month. So 304,200 for salary, and operating costs 251,910. So about 500,000 a month going on right there. And that is all of those. Just a quick overview on what they sort of mean. So we're going to go to Command Center. And we're going to click on Available Contracts. And we're going to take what looks to be a 2 skull mission right here. And we're going to go ahead and negotiate this thing. Alright, this is that negotiation tool I said. So if I only want 2 randomly assigned pieces of salvage and 776,000 credits guaranteed, I'd do this. If I want max salvage, means I get to pick 3 myself, whatever 3 I want, and then I get 14 total, then I would max out salvage and minimize payment. You can also do, at least I thought, why is it? I thought there was a way to actually take less and you could help yourself out, but it doesn't appear that it wants to do that. Okay, that's interesting. I thought I could do that on a few others. Never mind. So we're going to maximize the salvage right there. I'll get back to you on that. That seems interesting, actually, because I thought I could do it. All right, this is actually good. So your mechs are down here. If you had extra mechs, they'd be up here, and you can move around which slot you want them in. You can see that this Enforcer does not have a pilot, so I'm going to grab Medusa. I'm going to leave God, ridiculous call sign, because I want a good mech warrior. So I'm going to put him in that slot. You could do the same thing with mechs. You can see there it is up there, and then I put it back down there. I don't, like I said, I don't pay too much attention about what skills my guys have and who they're what tank. There you go, World of Tanks. What mech they're driving right now, but I can see how it would be very important to do that. So I'm going to deploy. As far as reloading ammo and all that stuff, it's basically automatic as long as you have an ammo module, I guess you would call it, in your mech. There's no real reloading situation going on in your mech bay. That's just pretty much automatic. However, you do have a specific amount of shots off of SRMs and ballistic weapons. I have not run into a problem with that yet, and that could be a late game thing to think about. Alright, so basically forward observers, scouts, military units, surveying military, tasking and intercepting the scout lance that's identifying and eliminating. Let's see, we don't have any intelligence about other possible forces, so keep your eyes open. There are sometimes reinforcements brought in. And depending how beat up you get by the initial contact, sometimes the reinforcements can be a big problem. Alright, so we're going to sweep the area and find them. So here's the beginning of this. They have little voices and they talk about stuff. You can move around and kind of take a look at the map. It's a right click and hold. Then you can spin around. You can see this little white thing is where I can run to. You can see it says sprint at the top of it. When there's no contact, the default is sprint, so you're going to move fast. And this thing right here is telling me where the enemy scout lance is. What I have learned is you do want to be careful initially as far as moving your guys up. You see these little pips, they call them? That's where you can move. Once I click on that, you'll see that shaded area and I can spin around. That's a facing. You can only shoot forward in that facing. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you can see with that facing where you want to shoot. We'll talk about that and show it to you later on when we see the enemy. But initially what I'm doing here is because I have come down on focus fire as the best way, at least in the early game, to kill things. I keep my mechs together and I take a look. And I want to have them all come online and fire at the same time. Last thing I want to do is have one mech run way out in front, highlight 3 or 4 enemy mechs, and absolutely take a blasting. I would love to be the first guy to shoot if I could. So I am quite careful initially. I'm just going to take a look here. There we go. So there's an enemy contact. Notice that he's red, so I can't really shoot him right now. I could if I took a sensor lock, so we're going to actually try this if I have a guy with sensor lock. Nope, just multi-target. I think my sensor lock guy is maybe unknown. Alright. You'll see that we each take turns. We'll talk a little bit more about the initiative stuff in a moment. One thing you do need to watch is, see this kind of steep cliff right here? I can't go straight down that cliff, so I have to go around. And I have found myself bottlenecking myself in a couple instances where maybe I came up here and said, oh, I'm going to go here and then I'll move down the cliff. And come to find out, you know what, I got to go all the way around like this is shown here. So be careful about that. This looks like a way down. There's a road, so that is a way down right there. I'm going to keep my mechs together on this. I'm going to move over here. Another thing to note is notice that sprint where it's got the chevrons to the right of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Those are basically defensive points. The faster you move, the harder it is to hit you. We'll show that in just a minute. So I'm just going to bring everybody up this way. That should get all 4 of my guys. You can see he was not grayed out, so he was still available. Now they're all grayed out. Now it's the enemy turn. Up at the top, you can see... Actually, I'm going to have to change that because you can't see that. Oh, yeah, you can. Okay. My little name thing's over top of it. I've got something. Alright, so we've got at least 3 mechs. Alright, the reserve thing means that you can reserve your move to later in the phase. I'm not going to get too deep into the details, but essentially faster mechs move first on the initiative. Slower ones move later. You can reserve any mech till the end of the turn. This can be useful sometimes if you're trying to set up certain situations where you're trying to hit everything at once, or you want to see what the enemy's going to do. I'm not going to get too much into that, but it can be useful. Alright, so we're not quite where we need to be on these guys. Now this will be good because look at this. Actually, I'm going to go take on this guy first because we've got 2 on our side. Alright, so that's a problem. What I want to do is I want to take these guys on first before I take these guys on. Last thing I want to do is go charging down into this hole and let these guys hit me from behind. Also, this is a fire starter. That's not a dude that you want to let get close to you. They are a big pain in the rear. Flamers will heat you up, and we're going to talk about heat when we get there, but it's best to kind of keep as much range from that guy as possible. However, you have to keep into account the range of your weapons. Now, some of you who may be experienced in this game may laugh at some of my setups. I haven't really messed too much with my mechs. For example, this dude's carrying a large laser, a medium, an SRM, and an LRM. He doesn't really know what his role is, right? He's got some long-range stuff with the long-range missiles, and the large laser. He's got some short-range stuff. He's kind of all over the place. So don't laugh too much. We'll get to that at some point in the game. So far, it's been working out pretty good. So these are the places I can move. You'll see the little red line. That means that when I move to that spot, those red lines are telling me who I have enemy-wise that I can attack. Okay, so if I go this way, I can't attack anyone. No red lines. Over here, red lines. For those of you who play World of Tanks, line of sight matters, and cover also matters. So you can see I've got line of sight on that dude. Also, I'm gonna, if I get in that little hole, I'm gonna have a little bit of cover, which is gonna make it a little bit harder for that guy to hit me. Plus the 2 pips over there for the defensive move, or for the amount of time or amount of distance and speed that I'm moving. Different mechs are faster than others. In addition to that, I'm going to have to work my facing to point towards this guy. So if I hit escape, though, I can come out of that. Right now, I have all 4 of these guys available, so I can use any of these 4 that I want. So let's take a look at him. Now, this is one of my best guys right here, one of my best mechs. I have messed around a little bit with this one, added some pluses, weapons on that. That little plus means it's a better weapon. It has +1 accuracy in that case. On the LRM5, it has +1 accuracy and +25 crit. This thing has an amazing burst capability with the SRM. So what I'm going to do is move him first. Actually, I'm not going to do that because I want to show you something here. I'm going to actually use this dude first. A little bit longer range. Pretty accurate weapons and an accurate pilot. And I'm going to show you what happens when you target. I could make no, I can't actually. I thought I could make a called shot, but that's a skill, so I can't do that right now. But this is telling me that I'm going to fire the AC-10 and the PPC, and I'm going to get this much heat. So you notice that the heat was 0. That's the heat line right there. At the end of this shot, I'm going to have that much heat. You want to avoid getting past the red line. The red line causes you damage and eventually can shut down your mech. But right now, I'm going to be purely fine for shooting this. I've got a 35% chance to hit with the AC-10. That's not great. And 70 with the PPC. But watch what happens right here. I missed. And I hit. -1 evasion. And that's what those pips are. I kept calling them defensive pips. Basically, they're evasion points. I've negated one of his evasion points. Somebody just shot at me right there and negated one of my evasion points. And now it's my turn. So now I'm going to bring the Kintaro, which has some fantastic capability. I'm going to run over here and watch how much heat this bad boy generates. It's not a very efficient build, which is an important thing we won't get into too much. But if you look at this, I don't have a lot of really great percentage to hit. I'm not quite close enough, but I'm going to generate a bunch of heat. But let's go ahead and fire on this guy. The green things were medium lasers, and I get some hits. Those are little damage things. I got a pilot injury. I hit the jump jet and minus evasion 1 from him. Now it's one of their turn. Okay, we got shots coming in from somewhere. There we go. So it looks like some SRMs or LRMs from him. That guy in the back just shot at me. And we've taken down some of the evasion. Now, it might have been a good idea actually to take my kind of weaker guy like this one right here, or maybe even this one I laughed about earlier, and take a shot at this fire starter before I brought in what is one of my best alpha strikers, the Kintaro. So probably a mistake right there, because the more I reduce this guy's defense, the better chance I have to hit. And you can see that I just put a bunch of hits on this guy. Got a flamer crit, another pilot injury put on him. You can see all of that heat that was just generated. So a couple of my designs are not very heat efficient. Got some shots coming in. Holy cow, what is that? There's something else over here. So maybe a 5th mech? What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to minimize my exposure to these guys. So I'm really trying to filter back over this way. Take these two on first, and then turn to face the rest of them. So the further I can get away and not let these guys have too much line of sight on me, the better. Gonna move the Shadow Hawk. He's another one of my kind of medium. You see that the percentage to hit is coming up. I have a flamer on this for close in. I may be able to show you that. There are melee attacks. The head destroyed. So I just critted the head and destroyed it. That's an automatic mech out. And as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that that gives me more or less perfect salvage on that guy. As opposed to just finding pieces of him, I'm going to get the whole mech. But we'll see what happens at the end. I'm not sure that's true. Alright. Alright, that's a Jenner. They're not too dangerous. They've got a couple medium lasers and some missiles right there. They're not too big or heavy. I don't know what you're complaining about. I didn't see any heavy hit. Okay, Spider, not a great tank. Ooh, alright, so he missed. I'm waiting for whatever that was over there to take that blast at me. Alright, so now we want to get rid of this Jenner, and one of my issues now, obviously, is that a couple of my guys with not very efficient setups are going to overheat if I fire. So I'm going to show you this right here. I'm going to click on this. See how that overheat button goes, overheat line goes all the way past the red line? If I do that, look, it says shutdown alert. If I do that, I'm going to shut down. So I do not want to do that. So let's say I still wanted to fire. If I come over here to the weapons, I can unclick those weapons. In fact, I can go to here and I can go right up to the red line. So I can shoot everything but my large laser. But I'd really like to shoot my large laser. Can I do that? Nope. Nope, I can't. So LRMs are not fantastic at that range. You can see it drops down to 65%. In fact, I might even be a little close for the SRM right there as well. But we're just going to do this. We'll bring right up to the red line. I actually hit him. Put a pretty decent amount of damage on. Boom. Right torso destroyed, right arm destroyed. Now that's important. I went right up to the line, so I am taking some heat damage. Oh, they got a lot of mechs. There's a lot more here than I thought. That's a Shadowhawk. That's actually a pretty good mech. So I've taken some good hits. Wow. Alright.
That hit hard.
Yeah, it did. Alright. I talked about the right torso. You can see that I'm sort of shooting at his right side. So facing does matter as far as where you're going to hit. Alright, so let's do this dude. We're going to keep moving left here. I want to minimize the amount of exposure I have to those guys for as long as I can. I'd love to take this Jenner down, so we're going to blast him. Right leg down. And I knocked him down. Alright, see the bottom analog bar, or the bottom bar right there? See how it's maxed out? It went red all the way to yellow. That's the knockdown bar. That's how close you are to being knocked down. And the more times you take hits, the closer you are to being knocked down. Certain things are better at knocking down than others. You can see that my Centurion is up to about halfway right there. When a mech is knocked down, you have a better chance of doing a crit hit on them, or of, I guess, selecting the point that you're going to shoot at. Let me see if I can show you with the Kintaro. Alright, so now I'm allowed to do a called shot because he's on the ground. I'm actually going to aim at the head. You know what? I'm not going to. I'm going to escape out of that. I'm going to take the center because it's easier to hit, and I'd like to just take this out. A Jenner's not that great of a mech anyway, so if I core him and completely destroy him, I could care less. Now I need to be careful because I've actually selected something that's going to take me over the limit right there. So I'm going to go ahead and drop two things down, drop two weapons off. One thing you need to be careful about on that is later on, if you forget to reset those weapons to fire, you will find yourself not firing all your weapons when you could. So you do need to pay attention. But you see my heat's really high on a couple of these already. Okay, something just fired at me. Whoa, that's a PPC. So I don't know what on earth. Sometimes there's tanks that have things like that. So that's a long-range weapon. So he still has me in range. That is a bummer. Alright, so Guido, that's my player character. He's the last guy that's available. And we're not even going to be able to get... Well, we might be able to get just in range. So I'm going to run forward here. What I'd really like to do is minimize the amount of shooting they do at the Centurion, because they've done a pretty fair amount of damage to him, and it would be nice if he could stop getting hit. Structure exposed, did some good damage on him. Got a head hit. So it looks like their reinforcements came in right off the bat, so we are just eating a lot of bad guy aggro right here. This dude's going to be up and on us pretty quick. Ah, looks like another... Oh, that's a Griffin. That's a larger... I think that's an even larger mech. Holy cow, we are bumming out here. Alright. I'm going to keep moving around here. I want to keep that guy out of the fight as long as possible. Oh, alright, so you see that I got into some ammo, and when ammo explodes, a lot of bad things happen. In fact, that guy has no arms left, it looks like. so he's going to run for it. The AI does that a little bit. They do sometimes when they get beat up like that, make a run. Now I'm going to do something on this one. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to use this line of sight cover, and this shows an actual pretty good thing here, because see that arced idea right there? That is only my LRMs have a range on that guy. So I'm going to turn everything off. What this means now is I'm going to cool down to where the blinking stops. And as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do any of that. What I'm going to show you is, so I could fire, but it would bring me back up to this heat. What I want to do is clear my heat out a little bit more. I'm going to rearm everything because I'm not going to shoot. I'm going to come over here, and this is called brace. And what brace does is it removes the unsteady part, if I had any, which I don't. It's 50% reduction against ranged attacks to the front and side, and 50% stability damage reduction. And then watch what it does to the heat, drops the heat down. So I'm not going to add heat this time. And maybe that Griffin will actually shoot at me and I'll get some... nope, he's going to go after the Centurion, who's just absolutely getting wrecked. Structure exposed is never a good thing. Alright, so let's see what we got. Now I'm going to probably go this way and brace with this one, because I need to reduce damage again. And I'm in a bit of a hurting status here, because one of the problems with inefficient mechs is this, where you get overheated and it's hard to get the heat off. There comes some shots. Yeah, that must be... I wonder if that's a big tank. It might be another mech down there, so that's not good. I could be facing 8 mechs, basically, here's what's going on. So I'm going to take this up. Again, the nice thing about this kind of anemic setup is it's very heat efficient. It's not hitting very hard, but it does have a chance to fire pretty much every round. And I'm going to put some pretty good hits on him, but look at that. Nothing really went through. Just kind of splattered damage all around this guy. Now I've got to finish this Griffin pretty quick, or I'm about to start having an issue on my side. Depending on what... Alright, it's a spider, so he's not that good. He is going to get a shot. Alright, so... this is getting tricky now. I'm going to go this way. You'll notice that I've been able to fire every round both weapons. This is also probably a funny setup that most people are going to laugh at, but it was just something I was sort of checking out. It is a fairly decent long range kind of thing. You see that I'm only down to 5 ammo on the AC-10 though, but I've been able to fire it every round, and it does do some pretty... Oh, I just missed that fact. All right, so that's an important thing, and it's something I miss quite a bit. Initially, when I clicked on him, I saw that the heat was fine. What I forgot to do is look at it after I clicked on the fire, or clicked on the target, because it showed it going up and over. I'll show you what that means. I think I mentioned it, but let me find if we can... We're going to be able to do that, or am I going to have to escape out of that? Yep, let's do this guy. So we're going to come around to his side. I'll show you what I mean, which I've mentioned, but I miss it all the time. Notice right now that it's showing if I don't do anything, I'm going to lose all of that heat. But if I click on him to shoot, boom, it goes up. So that's really what you want to see. Before you fire, you click on your target. Before you fire, make sure you're not overheated, which is what just happened to me. And I just really went into his right side and knocked him down. Okay. Now, oh, enemy's firing. Whatever that is still just letting me have it. Those are long-range missiles. Oh, there we go. I just took an internal damage. That's my Centurion that's been getting beat up this entire game. The AI will do that on occasion. It will kind of pick one mech and just really start beating up on the poor thing. You'll notice on this, because he's prone, I have an opportunity for called shot. I can't actually just fire at him. I do have to pick something to go ahead and go at. So I'm going to do this. We need to put this guy down. I don't want him getting back up. There we go. So the center torso's destroyed. That dude's out. Alright, so we got a wounded fella. He hasn't fired at me. I think he just doesn't have any weapons to do so, but he's still dangerous as far as coming at you and kicking you. That can be a problem. They can actually attack and kick you. So I think what we'll do here is... What I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to get front-facing to both these guys. Unfortunately, I'm not able to move a lot. Well, actually, maybe I can go up here. Can I get up here? There we go. I like this better. We're going to come up here, get a little bit of height advantage. Let's see if my Kintaro, with all its weaponry, is ready to fire. Looks like I got to at least drop down 2 medium. Oh, let's get rid of the LRM. There we go. So that'll keep me under. Oh, I missed with the medium lasers. That's too bad. But I'm able to absolutely pound him with the missiles right there. But not quite enough to take him down. And that sort of tells the AI, hey, here I am, shoot at me. Fantastic. I moved enough. I was able to get out of the way. Lost an evasion pip to it. No big deal. Alright. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna completely ignore that dude right there. Not really sure why. Huh. Alright, that dash line usually means you can move there and you're able to be shot, but you can't shoot. And I don't quite understand why. Huh. Maybe that's a facing thing. Well, let's test it. Look at that. Well, I don't quite understand what's going on with why I can't target that guy. He might be out of range of all my weapons. That's possible because I have all SRMs. All right, interesting. So let's get out of that. Let's find somebody else. Maybe this dude. All right. So we're actually going to move him up, and we're going to brace him. Drop our heat down a bit. Shadowhawk's probably looking to come in and do a kick. Oh, no, you still had some weapons. That's too bad. Okay. Alright, I'll show you physical attacks. So this guy's pretty beat up, and physical attacks don't cause any heat. So if you click on him, you have that yellow box around him, then you can do a physical attack. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Click attack, and the Centurion's going to run up. Give him a big whack. And 70 points of damage to some armor that didn't really go through anywhere. It knocked him unsteady, but holy cow. Unlucky. Uh-oh. This is going to hurt. No? Okay, good. They went after the Kintaro. That's kind of what I wanted to have happen. Sometimes you make a better target for the AI, it will not go after you. So we're going to do another physical attack. See if we can't drop our heat down because we're looking to... There we go. Right leg destroyed. That'll knock him down. Oh, there's the flamer. So that tank actually... Or that tank. I keep calling him a tank. That mech had a flamer, and that's called a support weapon. So machine guns and flamers and small lasers, when you do a physical attack, they will go off at the same time. And you'll notice that it added heat to that guy. That can be a really big pain. Oh, dude, that's a big tank mech. Ow. That guy's a problem. So he needs to be focused down. Alright, so Behemoth. I'm going to try to get max movement off of Behemoth here. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to run away. No, that's not true. I'm not going to run away. Max movement, come around here. Actually, I should have. The problem with what I'm doing here is I'm going to overheat everything if I do this. Alright, I'm going to brace. I'm really fighting the overheating right here. So this Hunchback has showed up, and I really need to take him on. Fortunately, that much movement made it difficult for that guy to hit me. Let's see what we got here. Alright, he's ready. Heat is under control. Heat is under control here-ish. And we got... Alright, let's move him around, see if we can't put a big hit on the Hunchback. 85 and 90, we're going to overheat. Dadgummit. Alright, we're going to take a chance. We're just going to brace. I need to drop heat. That's going to give him another round of firing, which is not ideal. Whatever that is was a mech, and it is still dropping long-range missiles on me. Alright. I feel like I'm misplaying this endgame just a bit, unfortunately. So Guido and his Shadowhawk's going to rage forward. The heat's under control. And I'm going to let him have it. There we go. Excellent. Putting some definite hits on him, so that'll be helpful. Unfortunately, we're going to eat another salvo from this dude. And this is going to hurt depending on who he hits. Oh, he missed. That's fortunate. Looks like he was fixing his heat. Alright, good. I like it. Still a heat problem here. I'm actually going to stomp this dude. Maybe I can't do that. Not really sure what's going on here. Why can't I attack him? Did I knock him out? Maybe I knocked him out. I guess I knocked that one out somehow. I missed that. I think that dude's out of the fight. I either forgot or missed that he got knocked down. That's fine, though. Looks like I can come close to shooting everything with him. Oh, okay. I only have 2 available. Losing my mind here. Losing my mind. I'm going to come up here and use some height on this dude. Looks like I'm going to overload if I do that, so I'm going to drop the medium laser. Actually, like all around. Let's see if I can get a medium laser back online. There we go. Alright. Not great, but he is quite unsteady. He's lost evasive. I have 1 person left, so Glitch is left. We're going to charge forward with Glitch. That is going to overheat me big time. So we'll just take the large laser off. That should knock him down. Oh, not quite enough. Oh, dude. Uh-oh. Man, if he fixed his heat problem, we got a serious issue. Spider backs up. Yeah, he does that quite a bit. Missed one, so that'll work. Oh, excellent. I get a turn. Alright, let's see what we got. Now, I can use any one of the 4 of these, so what I need to do is find the one that's going to give me the most bang for my buck and has the heat to drop everything on him. So I should be able to knock this guy down with this shot. There we go. We got an ammo left. Left torso, left leg destroyed. A knockdown will injure the pilot as well. It just takes a while for the graphics to do it. Boom, there's an injured pilot. So a knockdown will injure a pilot as well, which is nice if he's down to 1 health point left or 1 hit point. And another Griffin. Holy cow, this is going to hurt. Yow! Oh, there's a head hit, right? So head hit, pilot injured. Standard. Behemoth takes a hit. Well, 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 fellas. What do we got here? Alright. So we're going to move. These are long range kind of things. So we're going to move to here. Going to bring both of these up. I do not want this hunchback getting back up. No, too bad. Down he goes. Alright, Mr. Griffin. We got quite a bit of heat, so I'm going to move forward because I may be looking for some physical attacks here pretty soon. Oops, I need to do this first. This is what I need to see. Alright, I can fire those two. That's going to overheat. So an SRM and a medium laser. Alright, I'm going to take what I can get here because I just really need to start putting some damage on this dude. Now Behemoth. Let's move on in here. Oh, I don't think Behemoth can do anything without really just completely overloading everything or overheating. I might be able to get an SRM in here. Yeah, let's do an SRM. I'll be honest, the better plan there probably would have been to guard, which would have minimized the amount of damage I took, because this dude's about to unload on someone. Oh, well, that hurts. Whoa, whoa! No, that's not good. Ah, that's not good at all. That is not good. Left torso off. Alright. So, let's see. Move him into here. Now the question is, do I take down this stupid spider who's causing me issues, or do I go after the Griffin who can wreck everything in sight? Well, let's just go ahead and hit the Griffin. Oh, I missed. That's good. Man, if he hits the Centurion, I'm in big trouble. Oh, missed. Thank goodness. That was lucky. Alright, our heat is so bad. I'm just going to go ahead and try to kick this guy in. Kick his face in. Left leg destroyed. There we go. That knocked him down. He's up on the rock. Falls down. Should injure the pilot. You see the graphics are kind of funny. Sometimes they sort of meld into it. But interesting thing about this game is it was made with Unity, which is an open source game creation software. It's pretty cool. Alright, we got the Kintaro. What can we do with this dude? Actually, we gotta lock him up first. I'm just gonna go ahead and take the overheat damage. Take his right arm off. Alright, so there's a little structural damage. And now it's Guido's turn. Take everything we got there. Man, all that and only a jump shot. There we go. There we go. Now we're talking. Right torso comes off. Pilot injured. He's unsteady. What are they going to do? Well, this dude's going to get up and hammer on my poor Centurion again. Hopefully something with decent... No, what's he going to do? No, he's going to stand there. No, fantastic. So let's do this again. Right torso, right arm, lost, guarded, unsteady. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's not good. That is not good. Ugh. Not really sure what happened there. Alright. Sometimes the game doesn't show the damage quite right. Well, let's see. What can we... We're going to go with the PPC on this guy. Left arm's gone. Alright, he's done. So now we're up to this. Seeing as I still have plenty of heat to give on this one, I'm just going to go ahead and unload everything. Man, all that and only a left torso destroy. Oh, there we go. Knocked him down finally. Fantastic. Another... Ah, incapacitated. Excellent. So that pilot took enough damage that finally when he dropped, that should take that mech out. This guy's overheated, so I'm just going to... Actually, I thought I was going to. That's unfortunate. I don't have the jump jets. I can't show you a death from above, which is kind of one of the things I wanted to do, but that's alright. We're going to come over here. Now, am I able to fire anything? No, I can't, so we're just going to brace, drop the heat down. And unfortunately, we're giving this guy one more kick and shot at me. What the hell, dude? Of course. So my failure to take that stupid spider did more damage to me than I really would care to imagine. So far, I still have the Centurion. I'm going to have to rebuild it, though. Let's just use the AC-10 on him. There we go. Oh, no! Oh, okay. Fantastic. I thought there was more coming in. And there you go. Mission successful. Although I took some pretty heavy hits in there. That was a lot. Here's what the mission report looks like. It tells you how many turns, quick debrief, success. You can get a bonus depending on what you do. I had reinforcements come at me that time, so that made it much more difficult. I got 84,000 with the 20% bonus right there. Shows you the rating, how people like you. You go to next. Tells you the damage that you had on the mech. You see this dude, the Centurion just absolutely got schwammered. So I'm going to have to put a new SRM, LRM, and LRM and some ammo on this guy to fix him. In addition to that, I think one of those SRMs might have been a plus weapon, so I may have lost a plus weapon. In this game, you're going to lose stuff. Happens all the time. You're going to get mechs hurt, mech warriors hurt. And here's the big one. This is where I said, remember when I said 3 of 14? I said 3 priority and 14 total. So I get to pick 3 of these right here. Looks like I can pick a fire starter because I already have 2 of the 3 required. That would complete a fire starter. Or I can get a griffin. I can get part of a hunchback or a shadow hawk. There's another shadow hawk. So really I can complete one of these big mechs. So I'm going to go ahead and take the griffin and another griffin, which means I now have 3 of 3. So I have a griffin because I already have one in storage. And now I'm going to take... I could do the fire starter and get an automatic, but remember, I'm going to have 14 total. So let's ensure that I get a shadow hawk, at least 1. And if I manage to get 2 more, when I click confirm, it'll give me the rest of them. If I manage to get 2 more shadow hawks, which I don't think I did. No, I did not. I got none. I got no more shadow hawks. That's unfortunate. Sometimes you roll the dice. These are the other things I got. A bunch of heat sinks, jump jets, medium laser. Not a whole lot, actually. Not really a great one. Other than getting a full griffin out of this thing. And I click continue. One thing you will have to deal with in this game is reload times. They are quite long. Not reload times. Load-in times. Alright, that's that griffin I got. This guy comes up and says, hey dude, it's ready to go. You're going to need to repair some mechs. Yeah, pretty aware of that one. So, looking up here, Decker's out for 13 days. Behemoth is out for 17 days. Glitch is out for 27 days. So I took a lot of damage to the mech warriors here. If you go to the barracks, you click in here, you see I've only got 3 guys available right now. Let's click down to Medusa, who was in that battle. He now has 3,000 XP. And you can see that he doesn't quite have enough to get the next thing, 3,600 on all these. So he can't do anything. If I go up to Behemoth, 3,900, Behemoth can add something. So see how these are now got the little box around it? I can go ahead and upgrade one of those things if I want to. I'm going to just upgrade Gunnery, for example, and hit confirm, and her training is complete. Even while they are out of action, you can go ahead and do this. He's got 36, so I can actually add something here. Let's add piloting to him. Oops. You can reset if you don't like it. So we confirm him. What has Glitch got? Glitch has 4,200, so we're going to go ahead with Gunnery. Glitch is upgraded, and there you go. Let's go to the mech bay for the final thing before we end this kind of run through on one battle. Got to go to the mechs and repair them. So if we go here, I can repair this guy. Click repair is going to cost me 21,900. That's fine. That's what those hash marks mean. This one needs repair, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Repair. Now this one has an exclamation, so it's a little bit more in-depth and requires you to go to the refit. Here's the Griffin that I salvaged. What's interesting about that is it comes with all its basic weapons in there. So it's really a full-up mech. You don't have to add any weapons. Once the three parts come together, it's full up. But if I go to the Centurion and I click refit, we'll find what I have going on here. Holy macaroni, I had no arms. So I'm going to replace the torso and that one and this one and that one, and wow, I lost a lot of stuff. So I need all these things right here. And I'll just quickly show that because it's a good example. Let's see, we need an SRM-6 and two LRM-10s. The question is, do I have that? We have one LRM-10, which I believe was, I gotta look for the hard points. Where do there we go, they're over here. So let's go back. We got an LRM-10 which goes on there because that has missile hard points. See how that works right there? 1 of 3 now filled. Go to LRM-10 again, I add that on there. And then I believe I had an SRM-6. Now I'm not going to commit this because I may actually change this around, but I do have an SRM-6 here. Notice how it says right here, that's the quantity. It's hard to see, but that little number says 5. I have 5 AC5s available. I need LRM ammo, SRM ammo, and LRM ammo. So we got, and ammo isn't by 10, 15, that's just the number. Ammo is ammo, so I need an LRM ammo. Probably put it over here. And I need another LRM ammo. It's just for giggles. We'll put it there. That's 1 for each one of those. And then I need an SRM ammo, which should be down here with the SRM stuff. There it is. I got 14 of those bad boys. I'll put that over here for giggles. Oh, no, I won't. Sometimes if you're not careful, it won't actually take SRM ammo. There we go. So LRM, SRM ammo. And that is basically the tank. It's up to 50 tons. See how there's 0 tons remaining? That was the loadout that this thing really had. I may actually change that. So I'm going to let that one go for now, and then I'm going to end the video. I may change that around a little bit. It's a good opportunity, I think, while the mech is down anyway, to kind of move around the stuff that's on it. So we're just going to come out. I'll hit cancel. I don't want to do that. We'll just mess with it later. Oops. Confirm. No, I don't want the changes. There we go. Alright guys, and that is it. There's a quick rundown of Battletech and a battle in Battletech in the campaign mode. Taking some hits. Probably doing some things very wrong as I'm early in the game right now. But you can see that even though it's turn-based, there's some similarities to World of Tanks. Positioning, who you're shooting, focus fire, facings, that kind of stuff. Some of the same concepts, being used. Alright guys, that's all I got. Thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate it. I do recommend this game. It is a lot of fun, and we will see you.